I am Meg or Megan, whichever one you want to call me. I am starting this journey to talk about me. Kind of as like a diary almost, but not really. I'm here to help people in whatever way I can from the experiences I've had in my life. One of the first things I'm going to talk about is what happened to me 2.5 years ago. I got extremely sick with COVID. I was at home for about a week and a half. I was quarantined, and the rest of my house continued to function. I do not remember, but very vaguely, that week and a half, I was in bed. I'm going to tell you this story, not from the perspective, the beginning of it, not from the perspective of me, but from what I've been told from everybody else, because I don't remember it. I don't remember what happened. Through the trauma and the lack of oxygen, my memory is not there. So, I woke up on a Friday night. It was 2024, January 2024, somewhere around the 24th, 23rd, 25th, the 20th in there. And I went into the other end of the house where my mother was, and I said, I'm having real bad stomach cramps. She thought maybe along with COVID and everything I was having some gas buildup or something, because I was telling her my chest hurt, about lower chest, upper stomach. So she put me in the truck, drove me to the little local hospital here in Crockett, and as soon as we got in and she started telling them I had COVID, started telling them my symptoms, they automatically assumed I had pneumonia and then started running the test. Confirmed the pneumonia. So I had COVID, I had pneumonia. And they are not equipped to take care of somebody like that. They're just kind of like their ER at this hospital is almost like a minute clinic kind of ER. So, they had to life flight me or by ambulance. And they could not get an ambulance quick enough to pick me up and take me to one of the nearest towns to a bigger hospital. So I was life flighted from the little town of Crockett, Texas, to Lufkin, Texas, to a bigger hospital. It's called Woodland Heights. And when I got there, all I remember is being wheeled from the helicopter into the building. That's all I remember. I remember going under the awning, going into the building, and then that was it. So when I got there, they automatically put me on a BiPAP, and whatever mixture of oxygen is in the BiPAP, it caused everything here to break out into a horrible, like, skin irritated rash from me wearing the mask. I was in there somewhere between 24 and 36 hours before they made the decision to put me on a ventilator. Here's where the complications that I'm now dealing with come from. So I was coherent just enough to agree and sign the papers for them to put me on a ventilator. Do I remember it? No. My family had already left for the day, and I could come out of that consciousness where I was kind of out of it, and then I become a little bit more conscious that night, and they said, well, you're going downhill. Do you want to be put on a ventilator? And I told them yes. So they were in such a rush to get me on a ventilator that when their person that put in central lines was not there, so they had to have an ER doctor do it. Well, the ER doctor that did it, he punctured the top of my lung because he put it in too low. So they're supposed to put a central line in here. He put mine here. And when he was going in, he punctured the top of my lung. This lung over here on this side, which would be my right, deflated, collapsed. That's when they had to put in a chest tube. So now I got COVID, I have pneumonia, I have a collapsed lung, and now I have a chest tube in. They were calling my mom, they were calling my family members, letting them know what was going on. I don't remember any of it. I don't. I was out for 2 weeks. I only remember one thing, and it's the weirdest thing that I remember, is I remember laying there in the bed. Everything was dark. My eyes were probably closed. But I remember hearing my mom, my dad, and my stepmom all talk. And I thought, they're all in the same room. Something must be real bad if they're all in the same room. I didn't know what was bad was me. So, I was on the ventilator about a week before they started, well, she's not getting better. She's not getting better. I started having those types of conversations with my family. Then, the Saturday before I woke up, I had officially been on it 2 weeks, the ventilator. And when I woke up, let me go back. That Saturday night, when my mom left, the nurses said, we're going to start CPAP trials either Monday or Tuesday to try to wean her off of the ventilator. The next morning at 9 o'clock, I was awake. I was sitting up in bed, and they were getting ready to pull the ventilator out. Someone had come in at early, probably 5 or 6, and decided to start CPAP trials. I did so good that, by 9 o'clock, they were sitting me up in bed, and before I even sat up, I remember coming in and out of consciousness, or awaking and falling back to sleep, whatever you want to call it. And all I could see was the ceiling tiles. I did not realize I was on a ventilator. I didn't realize I had a tube down my throat. None of it. So, I just started praying, Lord, I don't know what's going on. Whatever's your will, just have it go your way. I'm just here, just whatever's going on, just, Lord, finish it. Just protect me. Whatever's going on, just protect. And I just started praying that over and over and over again. Every time I'd wake up or come out of consciousness or whatever you want to call it, I would start praying. And the next thing I know, I'm laying there, my eyes are shut, and I can feel them start poking my arm. They're wanting to run an ABG to see, like, my oxygen levels and everything else. And it's like I wanted to scream saying, you're hurting me. That hurts, but I couldn't because I had a tube down my throat. So I'm sitting there and I'm like crying to myself. I don't even know if I got tears running down my face, but the sensation and the pain and everything that goes with crying was there. So Next thing I know, the bed's being set up. I'm watching a nurse come in, a respiratory therapist coming in, and then they had a guy on a monitor who was a lung doctor come in, and the respiratory therapist says her ABG come back perfect. She's passed all of her CPAP trials. I want to take out the ventilator. And the doctor signed off on it. He said, do it. And they rolled him out. The respiratory therapist come over there and she said, I'm going to take the tube out of your mouth. You cannot talk for like an hour and a half. And when I go to take it out, you're going to have to cough real hard. I said, okay. I kind of shake my head, okay. And she counted to 3. I coughed and it come out. And I felt like this weight had been lifted off of me. Like, okay, I was on a ventilator and it all started to hit me. The nurse started stopping all the fentanyl, propofol, all the medications I was on. And I hope I don't get hit by the 18-wheeler. And they started stopping all that. And the effects of all that medication. And I was on the stuff, I was on the medical stuff. And I can tell you right now, I understand why fentanyl is so bad in our country right now, because it will mess you up. And that is not even the medical stuff that people are like lacing in drugs and other things. I was on the medical stuff. It had me seeing double when I come off of it. I saw 2 TVs, 2 clocks, and I'm going, oh my gosh. And I tell the nurse, I'm seeing double. And she's like, it's okay, it's the medicine wearing off. And in my head, I'm freaking out going, there's something wrong with my eyesight. And she's like, no, it's just the medicine wearing out of your system. It will go away. So, when I woke up, no one was there. It was me by myself. And I'm just like, where's my family? Where do they not know I'm here? And I just start spiraling in my head. Because I can't talk. So I'm spiraling in my head. I can't lift my arms. Because, did you know that when you are confined to a bed and you're not up moving around and you're not doing anything for like 2 weeks, you go through this thing called muscle degeneration, and your muscles degenerate super quickly. Super quickly. I could not lift anything. I couldn't use anything. I was just, oops, sorry, a little dramatic. But I could not do nothing. So I could not sign, signal. I couldn't do nothing. My hands were useless. I experienced immense pain in this left arm. Still do. From where they had me strapped down to a bed. Well, they have to have you strapped down to a bed so you don't pull the tubes out. Okay. So, with me being strapped down to the bed, with me being rolled every couple hours, they pinched 2 nerves. One in my neck, the back side of my neck, and one in this arm. Still yet to be fixed. So I'm still having problems with this arm. Can't hardly lift anything heavy. When I do, it's like, it's useless. Still have tingling, still have numbness, still, all these things are still here. Now I can lift it, the muscles have come back, I can use it, but it's almost like it's kind of useless. Because if I do use it, I experience pain and other things in this arm that just won't go away. Weather changes, yeah, I tell you when it's going to rain, and I tell you because my arm starts to hurt. Explain that one to me. But had to do physical therapy. I couldn't walk. They had to teach me how to walk again, which sucks, especially as a big person. And I'm not going to sit here and say I'm small, because I'm not. I'm a bigger person. But you have to have a lot of confidence in the people that are helping you. Sorry, I'm looking at myself instead of the camera. Sorry. So if my eyes are like over here. You have to have a lot of confidence in the people that are helping you, because you're putting all your faith in them, going, if I stand and my legs don't work, are you going to hold me? Are you strong enough to hold me? That is something I struggled with. Couldn't feed myself for first couple of weeks. It sucked being that helpless. When you went from, you remembered you were doing everything for yourself, then because you got so sick and your memory blocked out everything that happened to you, and you wake up and you can't use nothing. It's a very trippy experience, because you're like, what happened? I mean, it's easy to explain, muscle degeneration, but still, you weren't awake to experience it. It was like you went to sleep, stayed asleep for 2 weeks, and then you wake up and you're like, oh, I'm almost like a new, different person. So it's very hard to process sometimes. So on top of the arm and all the issues I had from that, they still had not fixed. So I was asleep on the ventilator for 2 weeks. They still had not fixed the hole that was in my lung. We've circled back around to that. And I still had the chest tube in. Every day the thoracic surgeon would come in, and he would look at the little box on the floor. Well, you're still having a leak. And what he meant is that hole is not healing itself. It hasn't healed itself yet, and there's still air leaking out of your lung. So the chest tube was keeping my lung inflated. But it was not staying inflated, because there was still a leak in the hole. And the weirdest thing is when you cough, or I shouldn't say you, me, when I coughed, I could hear the box that was on the floor wheeze when I'd cough. If I breathed too hard, the box on the floor would make a funny sound. So I knew there was a problem. I could tell. And about 2 weeks later, it was about 2 weeks, I had been moved from one ICU room to another ICU room, and then I'd been moved to step down. And by the time I got to step down, I found out the thoracic surgeon come in, and he was like, we're going to do surgery. Like, kind of like no prep. It was just like he come in, made the decision, and left. Now, mind you, I was still dealing with the trauma of being on a ventilator, and I didn't know how much my lungs had healed. So it was a very scary situation to me, and I cried a lot of tears, and I prayed a lot of prayers, because I thought, if I go have this surgery, and you know when you go into surgery, I don't know if most people know this, they put you on a ventilator. Now, mind you, it's a different kind of ventilator than when you're on life support, but it's still a ventilator. I was so terrified that they're going to put me on this ventilator, and my lungs are not going to be healed enough. And I'm going to be stuck on it again, or I'm going to die. So it was a very scary thought for me. All the nurses are trying to tell me it's okay. My mom's trying to tell me it's okay. Everybody's trying to comfort me. But I was living in my own head, and I was terrified. So I go in, I go in, I get wheeled in, and I'm like, I'm scared. I'm shaking. I'm just petrified. They give me the good stuff, knock me out. The next thing I know, I'm being wheeled out. Okay. I get wheeled out. Here's where it gets fun. Get wheeled out and get to the room, get to an ICU room. Mind you, it's the same one I woke up in. Doctor comes in, he starts telling me everything that was going on. He said, try to do it laparoscopically, which he told my mom it would be a 2-hour surgery, and it ended up being 4.5. He said I tried to do it laparoscopically. I could not find the hole, so we had to cut her open. I have an 18-inch scar on my right side that goes all the way around me. From where he cut me open and pulled my lung out to find this hole. He had to cut tissue out of my lung that had died and stitch it back up. Side note, my kid now calls me Little Lung because of it, but it's okay. He had to put my lung back in and then stitch me back up. So now this right lung is smaller than this one, the left. It is adhered to the inside of my chest wall via scar tissue. Currently, right now. Not when I was having surgery, but right now. And I have a nodule in this lung. Now, I'd say all this. We'll go into more depth through each video, talking about what my stay was like in the ICU. You're free to ask questions in the comments. And I say all of this. I went through a 1.5-year process. Numerous doctors filling out paperwork. Numerous doctors saying she can't work because she has all these problems with her. Numerous. All for disability. To say, you're denied because your husband makes $83 too much. Now, I married my husband in March of this year. The Lord sent him to me, and I know He did. I'm very much thankful for Him. But I don't understand how the government, how an entity that's supposed to help you because something drastic, traumatic, however you want to phrase it, happened, and you're not the same person as you used to be. You can't do the things that you used to do. I cannot unload a washing machine. I have to get people to do it. Now, I can load it. I can't unload it. I can't carry a laundry basket to the back end of the house. I can sweep about half my house, and then I have to stop and have somebody else finish it. I cannot do the simple task that I used to be able to do because of all of this that has happened to me. But I can tell you one thing. The Lord has stood by me every step of the way. So, I hope you're along for this ride. Like, comment, share. Please subscribe. Let me tell you my story. Let's talk about the Lord. Whatever you want to do, drop a comment below and we'll talk about it. So, y'all have a great day. Sorry, I'm in my truck filming this. I'll be different places every time, probably, when I film it. But, I hope y'all have a lovely day. And don't forget to love on each other. Have a great day.